Default text underhead is how the biggest Zimbabwe gold smuggling syndicate describes Zimbabwe Vice President Constantino Chiwenga. It is fascinating that even the criminals are aware of this fact. His below-par performance in the political field depicts someone who is bereft of political ideas. It defies logic that Dominic Constantino Gavhea, Nikitsino Chinhenge Chiwenga grabbed political power from his fellow Zezuru, Robert Mugabe, and generously gave it to Emerson Mnangagwa on a silver platter. Surprise! Surprise! Chiwenga wants it back, but Mnangagwa is not that benevolent. When it comes to political power, for power-hungry Mnangagwa, who had 2 failed attempts to power in his book, this was manna from heaven that came through the hands of the kind Pastor Chiwenga. So it made sense for him to grab it with both hands and protect it. He knew in his mind that the 2017 military coup of Zimbabwe created 2 centers of power both in the government and party. Him, fresh from his hiding hole in South Africa, was the weakest and man of the moment. RTD General Chiwenga was the most powerful man. He was as well aware that the Zezurus and Corcorays that held strategic positions in the security cluster, government and private sector were pillars on which the Zezuru Empire stood during the Mugabe era. So it made sense for him to reduce the all-powerful so-called People's General to his praise singer, clean out all Zezurus and Corcorays from positions of power as soon as possible. If he were to last a day at Manhumutapa buildings, one by one, the Zezurus were kicked out from the Zimbabwe National Army, Air Force, Central Intelligence Organization, Zimbabwe Republic Police, Zimbabwe Correctional Service, Judiciary, Government, Public Sector, as well as Private Sector. They were immediately replaced by Karangas, members of Mnangagwa's clan, or at least Mnangagwa's allies. The lucky ones in the security cluster were simply retired. Some were given diplomatic missions in the foreign countries far away from home. The unlucky ones died mysteriously through sector. They were immediately replaced by Karangas, members of Mnangagwa's clan, or at least Mnangagwa's allies. The lucky ones in the security cluster were simply retired. Some were given diplomatic missions in the foreign countries far away from home. The unlucky ones died mysteriously through poisoning and COVID-19, which strangely targeted only Chiwenga's allies. Among Chiwenga's key allies who died are RTD General Perrins Shiri, former Air Force Chief and Minister of Agriculture, RTD General Sibusiso Moyo, coup announcer and former Minister of Foreign Affairs. There was Mnangagwa, dismantling and destroying Chiwenga's main power base. Chiwenga, the new kid on the block, was not even aware of what was happening initially. Haile Mariam Mengistu, who advised Chiwenga through the coup and managed his transition from the barracks to the presidency, told him to hold the Ministry of Defense and the vice president position. This, to maintain control over the army and the war vets.